I'm Jamie Anderson, and we've all met that guitar player who brags about how many guitars he owns. Oh, I just bought a Strat, and I've got 10 guitars now. As if that makes him a better guitar player. I mean, I'm really glad that, he has all these guitars and probably enjoys playing them. But the mistake that a lot of people make is that the number of guitars equals how good you are. No. If that was true, then you could buy a whole fleet of sports cars and drive in the Indy 500. Or is it another number? I don't know. I don't follow racing, but you get what I'm saying, right? So your best bet, especially if you're a beginner, is to buy one guitar that's sturdy, that's a good deal, and learn to play that first, and then branch out. Maybe after you've been playing an acoustic guitar for a while, you want to rock out a little bit, so you want to buy an electric guitar. Maybe you're playing a guitar that has kind of a bassy sound and you're thinking, I want something that's a little brighter, so you can go out and buy one of those. But don't think that buying a new guitar is going to help you. If you're having trouble with the guitar that you have, it could be that it needs a setup. Now, a setup is where a technician looks at your guitar and raises or lowers the action. The action is how high or how close the strings are to the neck, and that can really affect your playing. It also depends on the string gauge that you use, so if you're using pretty heavy strings, switch to lights or medium lights and see if that helps. Also, a technician can evaluate your saddle, which is this piece here, the bridge, the nut. All of those can be adjusted and made easier to play, perhaps give you a better sound. And then if none of that fixes it and you're still unhappy with your guitar, go on and buy another guitar. I'm not saying never buy another guitar, but just dial it back a little bit and just know that the number of guitars that you have is not going to make you better. Despite what other people think. I had a conversation with a woman one time who had just seen somebody in concert. This is someone who's pretty famous, and this person said, oh, she must be really good. She had 5 guitars. That doesn't matter. It just means she could afford to buy 5 guitars. And because she was a big star, she had someone who could tune all of the guitars and hand them to her and stuff. So, I mean, I'm not, dissing her. I'm still not telling you who she is because I don't want to hear from her fans, but, and she's a pretty good guitar player, but just because she had 5 guitars with her on stage, doesn't mean that she's a phenomenal guitar player. So, the important thing to make you a good guitar player is to, like I said, have a guitar that fits you and that is good for the kind of music that you want to play. Good lessons are a great idea. Check out the lessons here on my channel. I've got over 300, most of them for guitar students. So I have another story for you. Don't be swayed by an instrument because it's pretty. I was recently in Lansing, Michigan, and I got to visit one of my favorite music stores in the world, Elderly Instruments. And no, that does not mean they just have old instruments. It means they have a huge inventory of acoustic instruments. And so I just sort of dance from room to room. There's a room that's got like a whole wall of banjos, and I go and I make some noise in there. And they have a whole bunch of ukuleles and guitars, and they have a beautiful, beautiful $2,000 dulcimer. And I thought, if only I had $2,000. Well, anyway, so the reason I brought that up is that on the wall was this amazingly gorgeous purple ukulele. And I was just like drawn to it, like it was like a choir was singing to me, oh, come over here. And so I went over and I picked up this old purple ukulele, and it sounded pretty good, but I wasn't convinced. And so I put it back on the wall, and then a few minutes later I came back and I played it some more. And in the end, I realized that I was attracted to it because I love the color purple, and here was this purple ukulele, and so it had a pickup, which made it easy to play on stage, and there's lots of good things. But then I realized after listening to it very closely that it had a couple of issues because it wasn't a very high level ukulele. The ukulele I had at home was just fine. So see, even I can fall into that trap of more instruments will make me a better player. So that's your lesson here. Don't think that the number of instruments you own makes you a better player, but don't be afraid to buy more if you're in the space to do that or if you want to change the style of music that you play. Please check out Patreon. It's a really great way to support what I do, these lessons and performances. You can also support me through Ko-fi. I'll put the link somewhere underneath this video, or I don't know, out in the ether. Check out jamieanderson.com if you want to find out more about my original music. Thanks for tuning in.